We're talking Sun Devil Volleyball this week on Sun Devil Extra. I'm Jeff Munn in for Braden Bell, and we're very pleased to have with us one of the outstanding members of the ASU volleyball team, middle blocker Claire Jeter, joins us. Now, I have to preface this. Many years ago, over 4 decades ago, I was the arena announcer for Sun Devil Volleyball. Actually, it wasn't even an arena. We were playing over at PE East. So I do have some files that back in my memory about how volleyball is played and how important the position of middle blocker is. In effect, for our fans, before we get into dissecting what has gone on so far this season, a middle blocker to a certain degree, I would think, is equal in responsibility to the point guard in basketball. You're setting up a lot of things for your team offensively, aren't you?
Yes, yeah. Our goal is just kind of to put people in good positions and kind of draw attention to ourselves. So.
And when, aside from the back line, middle blocker is also kind of the quarterback. I've used 2 different positions to describe this now, but you talk about get in position. You're the one that has to help out sometimes, especially calling out where the ball's going or who needs to get over and get to a ball.
Yeah, definitely. In the blocking aspect, we're definitely the ones that make the calls and make the play calls on those type of plays.
You just come back from a tournament at the University of Nebraska. The Huskers ranked 5th in the country. ASU went into the tournament ranked 14th. And I know that it's tough to lose a match, but it was the home team, 9,000 fans there. Nebraska's pretty good. From a fan standpoint, I don't feel too bad about it because I think the fact that you get on the floor and you compete with Nebraska shows how much the program has grown and is growing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. I think it was a good competition. I think we definitely didn't play our best, but it was a very cool arena to play in, very cool time, but can't wait to play them again for sure.
And you were pretty active in that match. If I read my notes correctly, you had 7 blocks?
I think I had 5 blocks that game, but somewhere around there.
Yeah. You don't keep count during a match. There's too much going on.
No, not usually. Yeah.
You know, I mentioned that I go back to the days of PE East, and that thing seats about 500, but it was 500 people. If you got 500 people in there, they were right on top of you. And we won a couple matches just based on the sheer noise in a small facility. Now you translate that to the arena in Lincoln, and you've got 9,000 people, or it may be comparable to when you play at Mullet. And the noise level gets to a point, any sport you play, communication with your teammates on the floor is important. It's really challenging in volleyball when you got 9,000 people making noise and you really can't communicate very clearly with your teammates.
Yeah, no, definitely was a challenge for us. Obviously, I mean, we're in a very tight quarters, but then also all the people surrounding you being very loud and active in every play. We're having to be really loud about communication with every single point. I feel like that was something that we kind of struggled with. I think playing in arenas like that is so much fun though. That's why I love playing in Mullet. I think it's so loud and it's so much fun to bring all the energy to your court. But yeah, it's definitely a struggle sometimes with the communication aspect.
It would help too, and we don't want to get too presumptive, but you're coming off an NCAA tournament appearance a year ago. Playing in venues like that, well, you would prefer to be at home for the first couple of weekends of the tournament. But if you have to go on the road to a place that's kind of hostile, you've been through that before. Yeah. So it helps in that respect too.
Absolutely, yeah. That's a definite advantage for us if we get to play in places like that have the fans that are loud and taking away from our communication. I feel like that's definitely a help. Tell
me about JJ. What makes him, I mean, he has had success from the second his first season started. What is it about him that makes him, in your eyes as a student athlete, such a great coach to work with?
I feel like I have a different viewpoint than a lot of people too, because I want to coach at some point. I want to coach at the collegiate level, so I kind of look up to him in that aspect. I think he is the most analytical person I've ever met. He knows numbers like nobody else. He is looking at things that we can fix every day, play calls that we can do to trick other opponents. He uses our size to our advantage. I mean, it's very obvious that we're a smaller team compared to most, and he knows how to use that to our advantage, so that's awesome. And from the day he walked in, he earned our respect, which was very important. I mean, he came in, wanted to meet with us, wanted to have one-on-one little dates with us to like be able to understand who we are as people, not just who we are as players, which is always important in sports. So I feel like that's kind of why.
It's interesting you bring up the subject of analytics, because in any sport, the role of analytics is to, in a way, predict what an opposing team is going to do in certain situations. And I would think the use of analytics in volleyball is to try to predict not only where the ball's going to go in terms of, are they going to go for a kill? Are they going to try to send you to the back line? Location. They go left or they go right a lot of times. Is that basically the breakdown for those of us who don't understand analytics that well as to how you use it?
Yeah, it's mainly just like who do we think is going to get the ball and where are they going to be the most effective when they do get the ball. So are they going to hit it? Are they more effective when they hit it to the left? Are they more effective when they hit it down the line? What type of block setup are we going to need to put up? Are we going to need to be able to crash in for tips? Those type of things. And then where are we going to be most effective when it comes to their block? How can we pick on their weakest blocker? How can we pick on their weakest defender? Those type of things.
ASU will open play in their tournament on Thursday with the Sparky Kids Go to College match. Now, I do the women's basketball games on radio. We have that kind of game every year. You talk about being in buildings with noise. That's a building with noise when Sparky Kids go to, and it's fun. You talk about how much fun it is to be in big crowds. You're going to have fun Thursday. I'm going to tell you that right now. It's going to be so much fun because the kids cheer. And it's not really based on how they get matches going. They don't really know. They're just wanting to make noise.
Exactly.
So I think it's good that you were in Lincoln last Friday because you're probably going to walk into the same kind of environment on Thursday. Graduate student, your undergraduate degree was in?
Criminal justice.
Really?
Yes.
That's outstanding. Did you think about, now you said you want to go into coaching.
I do.
Was a career in criminal justice on your mind at the time?
Yeah, I have a criminal justice degree and then I have a minor in psych. I was kind of wanting to do something with like behavioral analysis and the FBI type of thing, but I think I want to move into coaching more. So.
Now, are you continuing your studies even though you've got your undergraduate?
Yeah, I am now doing a master's program in leadership.
Which is essential to coaching.
It is.
You mentioned, just to complete thought about it, you talked about how you view JJ differently now. Is there a part of you, you're on the floor a lot, but during matches, do you coach? Do you look at and say, if I was coaching, I might do this, or I've learned about this situation watching JJ handle something?
Yeah, no, I think I definitely have that that type of leadership. I feel like people will come to me and ask too. I feel like Savannah and I have that relationship. That's our other middle blocker right now. And she always says jokes like, thanks, Coach Claire, like those type of things. But I think that I kind of like to find little ways to get in and make plays that I think he would try to do and try to change up some things, because I think that's important too in college, not to be able to only look at your coaches, but to be able to make those changes yourself. So yeah, I think that's something that I definitely do.
And it's interesting too, with women's basketball, one of our assistant coaches, Michaela Walker, had a job outside of athletics that paid her a lot more money, but she loved coaching.
Yeah.
And so she thought, okay, I'm going to go be a coach. I understand the sacrifice and the long hours and recruiting. And I'm getting a sense that you're saying to yourself the same thing.
Yeah.
I know I'm probably not going to make as much money right away coaching as I might in criminal justice.
Yeah.
In the psychological aspect of criminal justice, but it's the passion of being involved with the sport, isn't it?
No, yeah, absolutely. It's like I've had a lot of different coaches when I've been in college, and a lot of different coaches playing in club and growing up. And you have the really, really awesome ones that you just want to be just like them, and you have the ones that are not as awesome and that don't really push you to be the best person you can be. And I kind of want to change that atmosphere in college volleyball, and I want to make sure that people understand that when they come here and they're playing for volleyball, they're going to continue to play and they're going to continue to be the person that they were before, and not just their stats, which I feel like is something that kind of people struggle to feel like.
Well, I think that's a great story, and I wish you nothing but the best. Obviously, there's a lot of volleyball for you left to play here at Arizona State, but as you embark on coaching, I wish you nothing but the best. I think it's tremendous. And thanks for being here today, too. This is a busy time of year for everybody in the program, so I appreciate you taking time to come over and visit with us here.
Of course, thank you.
Claire Jeter with us, ASU's outstanding middle blocker, and we'll have more. Graham will be back as we continue with Sun Devil Extra right after this break.